This is Secrets to Win Big, brought to you by Arjun Sen, an acclaimed brand zen with over 30 years of global impact, who has been called one of the most business intelligent minds. His never give up journey in life and business inspired the global blockbuster movie by Shujit Sircar, I Want to Talk. Find him at www.arjunsen.com. And now, here is your host, Arjun Sen.
Welcome to Secrets to Win Big with Arjun Sen. Today, it's my pleasure to have a conversation with Rachna Chhachhi. She's a cancer, nutritional, mental health, and yoga therapist, and the author of 5 books. Her incurable autoimmune condition changed the course of her life in 2006 when she was bedridden. She takes pride in healing herself. Then she restarted for the last 15 years, has been treating cancer and chronic patients across 27 countries with highly successful clinical outcomes. I was amazed at her journey, but what hit hard was a lot of us do a fascinating job of getting ourselves out of adversity. But the moment I realized as she was getting herself out of adversity to a better life, she at the same time was investing heavily, learning more to help others. And that was the pivot that told me I have to talk to Rachna. So Rachna, welcome to Secrets to Win Big.
Thank you so much, Arjun. With the kind of inspirational backstory you have, I don't think I stand a chance on the sidelines.
So Rachna, first of all, each one of us, when we face our challenges, those are our Mount Everest. And at that point, even though we do not realize that there are others who have bigger challenges, but our Mount Everests are huge. So today we are talking about your Mount Everest. Okay. So I would just want to go back to that amazing, happy, fun life of Rachna, where you had no clue what is coming. It's just like you're on a whitewater rafting, you're going slowly, peacefully, not knowing the big fall. So tell me a little bit about that life before.
Okay. I was Vice President Business Development at GE Money. I'm not an MBA, and I had got hired in when I was running my own .com, and I shut it down, and GE was a client, and they said, if you can make money from us, you can make money for us. And that was my only qualification to become a VP BD, which in the GE parlance, everyone knows they call hunters. So we hunt. My work was to hunt for B2B partners and alliances and get the technology for the loyalty card into the country. So I was globetrotting. I was happy. I was successful. We were a family of 4. My husband, our daughter, and our dog, Joshua, Labrador. Everything was good.
So that's interesting. You mentioned Joshua by name. I want to know about your husband and also your kid.
Vikram, Aradhana, Joshua, and I.
Okay. Now
Yeah.
the family, I've got a good picture.
Yeah.
So share with me one big win from those days. First of all, it is amazing that without the MBA you got in, but at the same time, they saw your potential. And of course, without that, GE wouldn't give you the chance. So any big wins from those days?
So I got them their highest business revenue with India Post. It was a 400 crore revenue deal, and I won their highest award, for which they took us to Sydney, and there was a gala award ceremony. I thought that was my biggest moment. But today, when I look back, my perspective is different.
Okay. And that's the fun part about life, how it changes. So
Absolutely.
that takes me to the change. I want to go back, if you're comfortable, of course, to any details you want to share about the day life changed.
A couple of details, a couple of days that life changed. Because of the methotrexate and immunosuppressants and the sheer amount of pain and debilitation that I had become pessimistic. That's not the kind of person I normally am. And I had lost hope and I felt like life was not worth living. So there were two times that I tried to end my life at that point. Vikram obviously was, through it all, and there was once that he snatched the pills from my hand. We used to fight a lot. And that being the background, there was one particular day where I had so much pain in my hands and knuckles that we went to the rheumatologist and he said, "You have inflammation." So he injected each of my knuckles with steroid injections. So 13 injections in my knuckles, wrist,
Wow.
elbow. So total 13. He wanted it to be 14, but my really swollen thumb refused to let the needle in. And this was all in a span of an hour without anesthesia, an injection right into the bone, which today I'm told was really not legal. But it happened when it happened. And my daughter and husband, they were in the reception area, and the clinic of the rheumatologist was towards the back of the hospital, and they could hear my screams from
Wow.
there.
Just can't believe what
So,
they were going through. Of course, you, but more important,
yes,
too. Yeah.
yes, yes. So I came out, I was limping, and I saw the fear in Aradhna's eyes. And no one spoke on the journey back.
Mm. How old was she that time?
It,
Wow.
yeah. We went back home, and I am told that I was up and about, but for 3 days, I have no recollection of that time. In my mind, I think my brain had shut down, I had passed out.
Mm.
And when I finally regained consciousness, I just got up from the bed. I limped to the living room. Both of them were sitting, very scared, very concerned. And I didn't say anything to them. I just went straight to the kitchen where the medicine cabinet was. I took out these pills, the immunosuppressants and methotrexate, limped back to the bedroom, right to the washroom, and flushed down the pills. Then I went and sat down because then I knew that there was no looking back.
You know, it doesn't happen to me often, but I'm at loss for words. And the emotions going through my mind are, I cannot even say I can even have a inkling to feel what you went through. But I just am trying to visualize Rachna walking, how surprised your husband and your daughter were, maybe how surprised you were, like the action you were taking. Like it was like a surreal positive force possessing your body to take you to that next level. And you literally closed the door on the past.
I did.
So you set yourself up to a new path. But sometimes it's easy or easier to set yourself on a new path. But staying on that path is not easy. Okay.
Yes.
What made you driven, committed, not to give up after that?
Two things. One was the fear in my daughter's eyes. So Aradhna, when she would look at me, she would be fearful of hurting her mother if she hugged her.
Mm.
That's the kind of pain that I had. The second was when I took this action of saying my door is closed and I began the hit and try that I did.
Mm-hmm.
Within a few months, I started feeling a difference. And I had a conversation with my rheumatologist. And I had a conversation with the intention of sharing with him that, there is a path there. Maybe this can help your other patients also.
Mm-hmm.
And his reaction was, if you have quit your medications, you're going to be bedridden and deformed for the rest of your life. Nothing moves us more than anger.
Mm.
So I was in pain and then I was angry. And I had to prove him wrong because he's not God. Today I would, tell all the autoimmune warriors, don't do what I did, because I think someone in the universe had my back. I
Mm.
found my path with hit and try. Don't do what I did. But at that moment, when the rheumatologist said this, it just gave me strength.
Wow. And sometimes people give us strength by putting a hurdle in front of us. Okay? And once you get to jump over a hurdle, you start seeing what your potentials are. And in a way, the dare or writing your fate by that doctor may have been doing you the biggest favor.
Yes.
Tell you, literally marking for you how high you have to jump. And you said, bring it on. And that, I think, is amazing. And I love that smile of victory that you have as you are, going to that. But I still am mentally stuck thinking about 8-year-old Aradhana and your amazing husband Vikram sitting at the doctor's office feeling helpless and not feeling having any clue other than their beloved mother and his wife going through amazing pain. But this is huge transformation. So as you have done this, at what point did you realize that the severity of the decision you took? Because now you are literally moving forward. 100% you own your fate. Like if something goes wrong, it's you. It's like literally you're a trapeze artist that day. You're performing the highest stage with no nets, no trapeze, nothing below you.
Right.
At what time did that realization step in?
I don't think it's seeped in even today. Because, see, even today, so autoimmune conditions are incurable. If doctors don't know how to heal us,
Mhm.
our caregivers are equally clueless about it. And you were so right to point out the frustration, helplessness, and fear that Vikram and Aradhana were going through. And I don't think I was very compassionate about that fear at that point, because I was so into my own pain.
Mhm.
So uh, it's when I started releasing the pain with nutrition, with yoga, with certain kinds of pranayama, breathing techniques, uh, is when I started seeing their pain.
Mhm.
Uh, s- and it was literally like a path was opening up, and all I was doing was going with the flow. So in yoga, we also call it flow,
Mhm.
which I realized later. So a lot of things that I was doing have been clinically proven to heal rheumatoid arthritis. And now I have also written all that, including putting down case studies as well as clinical data on what I did and how it was helping me heal.
Mhm.
So my second turning point came when my reports got negative, which was within 8 months of what I was doing. So everyone has to also understand that just because your reports are negative doesn't mean you cured yourself. It means that you have cured yourself for that moment, and doctors will always say you are in remission,
Mhm. You have
right?
started reversing the path.
No, they will never say that. They will
Okay.
say you are in remission. They say that about a lot of diseases. You are in remission right now. And I always ask this question saying, if someone is overweight and they lose weight because they change their lifestyle, they change their, mental perspective, their emotional makeup, and they release the physical and emotional toxin, and weight is a toxin.
Hmm.
The doctors turn around and say, oh, you're in remission from obesity. They don't say that, but they say that about other conditions. So my focus then and today is to stay in remission. And
Hmm.
it's an everyday fight. Every morning that I wake up, I have to choose between letting go or living the life that I live with my boundaries in terms of my lifestyle, and staying in remission.
Hmm.
And that's also what I pass on to other warriors who have nowhere to go.
So now I want to get to a happy place. And happy place is, again, you know, not being disrespectful or trivializing. We are going through an amazing long journey in minutes. To recap, so tell me, once you have come to a place where you are living in remission every day,
Right.
how did life get back to a better Rachna, cooler Rachna, and the celebration?
I don't know about cooler, but when we are unwell, we wish we had the life that we had back before we got unwell. But when we heal from within, we don't want that life back because we are a new normal. We are a better version of ourselves.
Mhm.
And that's what started happening to me. In the last 15 years, I have had two relapses. One when Joshua passed away, and one when my mother passed away.
Mm.
But when Joshua passed away, I was able to reverse it in a matter of a few weeks. When my mother passed away, my father was grieving. So I was also a caregiver to him, and we were all going through the grief as a family. At that time, it took me a little longer. So that's the reason that I said that every single day that I wake up, I know what I have to do to emotionally and physically protect myself to not have that extreme pain. And the memory of that extreme pain keeps me going. And the memory of that extreme pain helps me propel towards the happiness. So the gratefulness of today is extremely precious, extremely important. I am able to travel, I'm able to walk, I'm able to do my yoga, I live an extremely full life, I work hard. None of this was going to be possible if I was not healed.
I think what you talked about is appreciating today at the highest level is so important. One of the things I feel most of us take for granted is that you can drink water anytime you want.
Exactly.
I had one of my biggest surgeries, and for maybe 2, 3 weeks could not drink water. And I could just sip a little through a straw that will somehow go through some hole between the teeth. I wanted to drink so much water when I got a chance again. Like, I even started thinking that, wow, I can add lime to water. I can put watermelon to water. Like, to me, I started fantasizing about water. And to the point where now, if somebody gives me a water, the answer is never no. Like, yeah, I will take that because my hand is always there.
Right.
And the question I asked myself, that if something that simple could give me so much pleasure, why did I have to go through that level of adversity to appreciate it? And more importantly, what else am I taking for granted that somebody on this planet is saying, I wish I could do a little bit of that? So I want to pivot because this is the part where, Rachna, your story becomes beyond fascinating. As you're going through, and the reality of the two times things reversed, and I would bet every time re-reversing and getting back into remission was even tougher. Where did this idea come from that Rachna is not going to just take care of herself, but you are literally telling life, I'm coming with plus one more.
Yeah.
Where did this idea of plus one come in and this whole preparing to help others?
So it started coming in immediately after I saw my reports the first time when I reversed it in 2008, 2009. And uh, I just realized that, it's just 8 months. People live their whole lives in feeling tormented, feeling the pain and suffering. So the life of an autoimmune warrior, the progression of the diseases, most of the diseases is to go from walking to the wheelchair to the bedridden, and uh, most of us die early because of side effects of medications that can cause multiple organ failure. Now, we don't know how long each of us is going to live. We can't control what's happening tomorrow. We can't change the past. What we have is today. Today, my reports are negative. Today, the orthopedics have told me that I need a knee replacement. I need an ankle surgery. I need surgery on my wrists. And I will never be able to walk again till I don't get these surgeries. And I'm walking and I'm doing everything. And they said, you can't lift a glass of water, and I'm lifting a glass of water. So there are so many others.
Mhm.
But my experience is not going to be on the basis of my experience. I can't heal people. So I took a deep breath and I started searching for certifications that would make other people believe that I could heal them.
Mhm.
So I found this nutritional therapy course certification, Oxford, and Aradhna was studying for her class 7 exams at that time, and I was studying for my nutritional therapy exam. And I actually went with the flow, Arjun. After that, it's like I'm a sponge. I
Mm.
don't know how many certifications I have done. I did my nutritional therapy, then I did my cancer metastasis from Johns Hopkins. Then I did my 200 RYT yoga teacher training, which my mom kept telling me, you've got mangled joints. Why are you torturing yourself? And I was like, it's a bee in my bonnet. I have to do it.
Mm.
And I did that. Then I did my MA yoga and then the PhD yoga. And I did my mental health therapy certification because the mind plays such a huge role in healing. You know that better than anyone else. So it's been a roller coaster since then. So every time I stand up and I have some cases which I have healed, there are 100 other who stand up and say, here's me.
Mm.
How do you say no? You can't say no.
And I want to pause right there. If we walk away from all the challenges, the question that you just asked, I think most of us look at it just the opposite way. Instead of thinking, how do you say no? Most of us worry about how do you say yes. Okay? And that's the whole thing is, to me, I just think just like every coin has two sides and a head and a tail, which side you want to look at, it's the same coin. Some of us look at the tail and some of us look at the head. And I really think that was a fascinating thing that you just said is pivoting from how do I say yes to how do I say no? Because I really think taking no out of the equation and no being not an option. And that again takes me back to, a cliche example is and I forget the group, when they would travel, uh, to a new land, the Vikings, the
Right.
first thing that they did was they burned the boat, which meant that was
Yeah.
like we are here to stay. Because once you are here to stay in a relationship or in a journey like yours to help others, I think the commitment takes a new, different level because there's no rear view mirror. All you're looking is forward. So now I want to look at life today, the biggest reward life has given you.
The ability to forgive. So I forgave my doctor long back because it wasn't his fault.
Mhm,
That was his training, his education. He's another human being who went to a professional institute and got training.
mhm.
Each and every person who I had anger about, I've just learned to let it go. And it's more for me than them. Because every time I do that, I start feeling better. You know, I'm also against the aging, uh, it's an uphill task. So as we age, when women age, their pains increase, even normal healthy women, because of their hormone changes and everything. But I just keep feeling better. I just enjoy every moment. I enjoy the holidays that I take with Vikram. We coincide our work together, and then we do part holiday. We drive out to Pune every 45 days to play golf together. Tomorrow, Aradhana is coming over. It's a tradition, to do the Christmas tree together
Mhm.
every year. So these are the things that give me joy. So where is the space for holding grudges?
If you could have a cup of tea or coffee with your doctors who had pre-diagnosed you or even given you the shots, what would the conversation be like?
So I do work with a lot of doctors and a
I
lot of
want that
doctors.
doctor. I want a conversation with that doctor who gave those 13 shots.
That's a tough one. I don't think he has the ability to understand. And when someone doesn't have the ability to understand, you don't try to make him understand.
Mhm.
I would just have my green tea because I gave up coffee.
Yeah.
And I would offer him very graciously whatever he wanted to have and ask him how he was and what were the breakthroughs and just have a conversation and leave.
Yeah. And I think that's another big learning for me as you're sharing this is we are not God
Right.
yet. Okay. Would never
No,
have. Glad. Which means we are not responsible for the entire planet or other people's actions. Okay. We are only
yes,
responsible for our actions. And I think that has been also a big realization for me is just to live a life where to believe everybody from their point has good intent. They're making the best effort.
that's true.
Maybe they are looking from the South Pole and I'm in the North Pole and the perspective is different. So instead of trying to dissect and change the world, and it even happens a lot in politics today, business today, is we try to change each other instead of trying to understand each other. And sometimes, just like you said, is seeing that you are from South Pole, understanding that you would never see my life, just move
Yeah,
on and enjoy your green tea. So that is there.
yeah, yeah.
So I want to finish with three one-liners. I would request you to think, what would you say today after this amazing journey? Number one, to the most important person, Aradhana. Number two, Vikram. And number three, to you. So one line, this is your forum. What would you tell your daughter?
I'm sorry. A part of her childhood I destroyed. I was only looking at my pain. She was a scared little child. I was not the mother. she needed. I became the mother she needed when she became a teenager, even later, I think. So just, I'm sorry.
Vikram?
Every day I try to make amends for that time.
Mhm.
Thank you. So just being with me, I tried to leave him many times.
Mhm.
He wouldn't hear of it. And I don't know whether he understood or not that it was my frustration with my own body, my disease, my traumatic thoughts that made me want to leave everyone.
Mhm.
But he just stuck. He just said, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. And that rock solid, I'm here.
It's the Rock of Gibraltar for you. That's it.
Absolutely.
And finally, to you.
Don't look back. There, right there. Next year, 5 years later, 10 years later, is a glorious time.
Mhm.
Never look back.
I don't think I have tried to reflect or process real time this much in any conversation till date before today. I have three thoughts for you. I was living the same life, regretting, feeling sad about being absent in my daughter's life. And mine is, I think, a bigger penalty because it was by choice. By corporate greed, I was stealing the 24 hours I have, time from my daughter to put it in. And then, of course, she going through all my tough part of life. Recently, my amazing daughter gave me an incredible lecture. It's like that. Stop. Stop regretting the past. We are in the present.
Right.
We can argue, which we will. We will disagree, which we will. But our relationship will never change. Don't try to change the past because it is impacting our present. Yesterday,
Amazing.
we saw the movie together. I was freaking out because I knew how much trauma she would go through again. And the first 5 minutes of the movie, I was just sitting stiff, and my daughter was like trying to talk to me. Dad, it's our movie we are watching. I'm like, good, yes, like one word answers. And then she paused and told me, Dad, you tried your best to navigate the movie to boundaries, then it's not in your control. It's enjoy. And
Yeah.
even if I don't like the movie,
Yeah.
I love you. So that is, I really want to put that in front for you. You're a very wise soul. I wanted to share. Second, I also feel that the rocks of Gibraltar's in our life are so important
Yes.
because we are human beings. Okay? Human beings have a threshold. If you take us beyond, at some point, we'll give up. Like my best story I have is when I started doing research to realize Oprah Winfrey,
Yeah.
the Oprah Winfrey who changed millions, maybe billions of lives, twice in her early days was ready to give up on life. Like if it can happen to Oprah, it can happen to anyone. Okay?
Right.
To me, when the rocks of Gibraltar's in our life, then they seem goofy by saying, I won't give up. Like to me, that's the stubbornness of pure caring and love. I think
Yeah.
something happens to us. Okay. And I really feel that you sharing that in such a simple way, that is huge. And when you were talking uh, about you staying focused, one of the things I've also learned, I was lying to myself. I would tell myself, Arjun, beta, go through today. Tomorrow will be better. Then I realized, stop lying, Arjun. Tomorrow
Mhm.
could be worse. Like I am setting myself up for tomorrow, which won't work. So I really loved and thank you from the bottom of my heart for being so authentic.
Mhm.
I don't know whether it was fair to ask those three questions, but I had to ask. And it also wasn't easy for you to answer those. So, Rachna, this is a fascinating conversation. But the conversation has to end in one way. Anything you want to share, anything you want to ask is yours. Take the conversation home, please.
Seeing, seeing, seeing the movie gives me a little tip of the iceberg perspective about your journey. And you know about my journey. Today, when I look back at that life that I had and the kind of person that I was, I have grown from a gross body person to a subtle body person. So in yoga, again, we talk about gross body, which is attached to the materialism of the world, and subtle body is the person who appreciates more and lets go and goes more inward in understanding themselves, is a soft soul.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I feel I have moved to. And I'm told this a lot in any case. It's not like I don't like my stuff. It's not like, I have done tyag and stuff like that. It's just that things that matter today and the things that used to irritate me in 2005, 2006 are drastically different
Mm-hmm.
than very little that irritates me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel triggered today because I worked hard on it and because everyone around me has been there for me, including my patients.
Mm-hmm.
Every case that I healed, Arjun, I learned something.
Wow.
And you would be surprised how many I'm in touch with. I run the autoimmune community, it's part of my foundation. So I run a foundation called Kindness Practice Foundation. And we do autoimmune community meets. We have a support group. We do free camps for nutrition and cancer detection for underprivileged people. And we do projects with companies
Mm-hmm.
as part of CSR.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Rachna, only thing I just want to share with you, pray, and request is never change. Keep going for yourself, for your amazing family, and everyone whose life you're touching.
Thank you so much, Arjun.
Absolutely.
We get a lot of courage from you. We get a lot of courage and inspiration from you, from the difficult journey you've had. Keep inspiring people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Secrets to Win Big with Arjun Sen, an acclaimed brand zen with over 30 years of global impact, who has been called one of the most business intelligent minds. To learn more, visit www.arjunsen.com. Share this podcast with your friends and subscribe wherever you like to listen to podcasts.